15 creepy finds made in abandoned places. Uninhabited places are different. It can be a place where a man has never set foot, and that's one thing. And quite differently, when you come across an abandoned places that was once used by people but now it's only darkness and desolation, from which it often says something bad, mysterious and frightening. All sorts of thoughts go straight to your head, and your imagination draws out the rest. 1. Strange and scorched dolls in an abandoned trailer. This photo is from an old trailer that was found in a dense forest. What are all these ancient, broken and partially burned dolls doing in it? Why is the trailer abandoned in the woods? What happened is nobody knows. The photo was found in an online collection of creepy, forgotten things. 2. An old podium on an abandoned Olympic arena in Athens. The city where the Olympic Games are held becomes the main news topic for a few weeks, although the pleasure is very expensive, and the money spent is unlikely to be forked back. Athens and Greece in general may regret not being able to get financial compensation. The Olympics were held there in 2004, and a few years later the country went bankrupt. Greece is still struggling with debt amidst a poor economy. As a side effect of these problems, one new and shining sport facilities have fallen into disappear and are not being used. There are no bronze, silver or gold medalists on this podium. $1 billion lost forever. 3. A real artillery shell in an apartment building. This house wasn't abandoned. It just changed tenants. And the new owners were surprised to find such an ornament in the house left by the previous tenant. Isn't that strange? I wish I did left something useful, a table there or a chair. I had to get a wire body, and he said it was dangerous to play with the thing. The bomb squad was picked up by the bomb squad. 4. Wheelchairs and strange drawings on the wall of an abandoned mental hospital. This creepy place is in Parma, Italy. You can still see wheelchair and other hospital equipment in an abandoned asylum. Well, the artist Herbert Baglion decided that there is not enough strange graffiti to complete the picture, and these black figures on the wall are his work. Looks really impressive. 5. An abandoned house in the woods. What's so weird about this? It's just that there is all the stuff left in this abandoned house. Furniture, dishes, this painting on the wall. Looks like whoever was living here was doing it in a hurry. Why that's? We don't know. The cabin is in the middle of nowhere, next to nothing and nobody. Something came across it once and took pictures. 6. An abandoned person in the basement of an old building. Some adventurer found this person in the basement of an abandoned building and put it on the net. The empty buildings themselves are creepy, and when you came across the prison cells in such a place, it becomes quite uncomfortable. 7. The cemetery under the house. Imagine for a moment that your house was built right in the cemetery. That can't be right? But that's exactly what happened to a lady who one day dug up a child's skull in the basement of her just bought house. It turned out that the house was built on an old cemetery that was almost 200 years old. 8. The barbed wire in the mental hospital. And again, a psychiatric hospital, this time in New York. It's where the atmosphere gets creepy and the barbed wire hangs to the creeps. 9. A mummy in a closed house. A lucky Spaniard bought himself a house in the seaside town of Rosas. The deal was very profitable for him because the house had been empty for a long time and had been locked up after the previous owner had mysteriously disappeared. Well, what could have gone wrong? Just wondering. Someone was selling the house. Some real estate agent had to take one look at it before selling to the new owner. Maybe it's not customary in Spain, of course. Apparently not, because the mummified body of the mysteriously disappeared lady lay quietly in the living room. There are no photos from the scene, but it should have looked like in the picture above. 10. A bounding Olympics sky jump in Sarajevo. In 1984, Winter Olympic took place in Sarajevo, then still Yugoslavian. As in many other similar cases, it was a bad financial decision for Sarajevo. But even worse was the Bosnia War, which started in the early 90s after the Yugoslavian split. The Olympic structures were used by the military and civilian for various purposes, not at all sporting. Today, the dilapidated sky jump and skylift ending in the fort look like a picture of a surrealist. 11. The hurricane destroyed amusement park. The Six Flags amusement park in New Orleans, USA, once thrived, but everything changed in 2005 after Hurricane Katrina. Both the park and the city as a whole were seriously affected, and they will never be the same again. The amusement park has since been abandoned, and it was decided not to restore it, as the damage was too great and it was easier to build a new park than to restore it. Today, this place is a dilapidated in dark reminder of better day. 12. A huge clown's head in the same park. Does anybody even like clowns? Anybody having fun? It feels like most people think they're creepy. Maybe you should blame it on Stephen King, who knows. Some people even suffer from the color phobia, a fear of clowns. And these people are strictly forbidden to enter an abandoned Six Flags amusement park in New Orleans and look at the big clown's head lying on the ground. 13. A dead bird hanging from the ceiling in an abandoned house. Here is another abandoned house in same American backwoods. In a place like this, it gives you the creeps, but a dead bird in the ceiling, a dead bird that was hung there on purpose, that's too much. 14. Isla De Las Munecas, Part 1. We started with dolls and we'll finish. Mexican Dolls Island is a really weird and dark place. An uninhabited island filled with broken dolls hanging from trees and stuck to everything. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of dolls out there everywhere. Some with arms and legs, some without them. And besides dolls, there are spiders, a lot of spiders. 15. Dolls Island. Part 2. The history of this island is horrible and sad. It is said that one day, many years ago, Don Julian Santana Barrera, the island keeper, found a little girl in the island who was either dying or already dead. He couldn't save her, and that nightmare started to haunt him. Soon a doll nailed the island. Barrera decided that this doll belonged to the dead girl and hung the toy in a prominent place as a tribute to respect and memory. But then something happened to him. Maybe he was just eccentric, or maybe he had not lost his mind, but he started collecting broken and discarded dolls everywhere and handing them on the island. A few years ago, the island keeper died, and since then the place has become a kind of tourist attraction. People come here to see the collection, and sometimes dolls are brought here to replenish it.